This is a deep dive, and I can't swim. Hi, this is Two Girls, One Plot.
We're very happy to have you with us today as we discuss the third chapter of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, The Letters from No One.
Are they from no one?
We'll discuss.
As always, it's me, my name is Xenia, and my co-host,
Nikki.
Or Nicola.
So we would like to include a bit of a spoiler warning here. This is a reread podcast. If you're one of the few people who haven't read Harry Potter in the world, what are you doing?
Where have you been living?
What's life like there? Anyway, if you want to continue to listen to us without having read the books, we can't stop you. We're not the police, but just be aware that some plot twists will be a lot less twisty for you.
Let's rock.
Okay, so after a long time, longest ever punishment, but not clear how long it's been, Harry has been let out. He is trying to spend as much time outside of the house as possible. His big ray of hope is that after summer, he'll go to a different secondary school than Dudley. Dudley is going to Vernon's old school, Smeltings. Harry is going to whatever normal people...
Stonewall High.
Yeah, normal school, non-fancy school. Oh, yeah. And we did find out how Miss Fig broke her leg. She was tripping over one of her cats.
The Maine Coons / Neasels.
So, at breakfast one morning, Uncle Vernon wants Dudley to get the post. Dudley says make Harry get it, and Uncle Vernon, being not a good father, permits this and makes Harry get it. Harry goes through the mail and sees a letter addressed to him. He's wondering why, how could he have a letter? He doesn't belong to a library, so he's never, ever gotten rude notes asking for books back. Yet here it was, a letter addressed so plainly there could be no mistake. Mr. H. Potter, The Cupboard Under the Stairs, 4 Privet Drive, Little Winging, Surrey. The envelope was thick and heavy, made of yellowish parchment, and the address was written in emerald green ink. There was no stamp. So when Harry returns to the kitchen and gives the mail not addressed to him to Uncle Vernon, Dudley notices that Harry has a letter. And Uncle Vernon eventually takes it from Harry. Harry wants his letter back, but Uncle Vernon recognizes it as a letter from the magical world. For the first time in a long time, Uncle Vernon does not bend to Dudley's whims and doesn't give Dudley the letter, and instead, both Harry and Dudley are locked out of the kitchen while Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia discuss how the wizards knew where they were. How could these magical beings with the ability to move and know things know where they, the people who haven't moved in 10 years, live?
Where they have left Harry.
Yeah.
Harry James Potter, Mr. H. Potter, 10 years ago, exactly in this place.
So then, at first, Vernon decides, okay, we're going to ghost them. But then, more letters start coming. Now, something happens, though, which, because Vernon sees that the wizards know that Harry lives in the cupboard under the stairs, he's like, we should move you to a room. This is awkward once other people know what we're doing. So then we learn that Dudley has a second room just for his stuff, and you hate Vernon and Petunia even more.
Yep. For his broken stuff.
For his broken stuff. And then the next letter comes, and it is very shadingly addressed to Mr. H. Potter, the smallest bedroom, number 4 Privet Drive. So suddenly, I'm going to speed track a bit here because it gets insane. There's so many letters that come to the house. Uncle Vernon blocks the letterbox with wood. And so at one point, they come in the eggs, like the egg carton.
Which I found absolutely baffling. First of all, how, but then magic. Second of all, why eggs?
And also, Uncle Vernon is like calling the royal post, being like, what are you doing? And like, come on.
And then the dairy.
Yeah. And I'm just like, come on, man. You know these are wizards. You know why it's happening. So then at one point, Uncle Vernon decides we're going to run away from the house because the wizards and witches know that we're there. And he goes on a mad journey, continuously going in different directions, saying, shake him off, shake him off.
He's a Swiftie.
So they have their first stop for the night, a gloomy-looking hotel in the outskirts of a big city. Now, this brings up a question later. Where did they drive to?
So we'll know later on that this big city is Cokeworth, which is a fictional city, and it is said to be modeled after industrial cities that surround Birmingham. So it's somewhere in the Midlands. It is said to be modeled after Manchester or cities like that. And Cokeworth actually is the town where Severus Snape and the Evans sisters grew up.
Wow. Okay. Oh my God. Gardening. J.K. Rowling's gardening
Right?
again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they briefly stopped by Petunia's hometown.
So then the hotel manager is, hey, is any one of you Mr. H. Potter? We have a letter. And then Vernon freaks out because the wizards have followed them. And they got to go on another car chase. And at this point, Dudley's not doing well. He's missing his television and like his television programs. And this is something which like a modern audience can't understand, where like you used to have to wait for a certain time of the week and evening.
We are spoiled by streaming services.
Yeah. And so finally, after going on another weird chase, they go to a little hut on a little island off the shore. And it's horrible. They should die in this hut. It's not warm. And Uncle Vernon brought what he called were rations, but it was a packet of crisps each and 4 bananas, which is not rations, especially not when you got Dudley and him in the house.
Yeah, it's like a light snack.
Yeah. And so there's this huge storm. There's no fire. Again, they should be dying. It's so cold in this hut. And Harry realizes, based off of Dudley's television knowledge, that it's his birthday tomorrow, so midnight that night. And he is counting down. And we get a little countdown with him. And then on his birthday, exactly, we hear, boom! The whole shack shivered, and Harry sat bolt upright, staring at the door. Someone was outside, knocking to come in.
So I want to point out that in the Minalima edition, that boom is about 15 times bigger than the rest of the print on the page. So we really get the idea of how thunderous this boom is. However, if we go back to the beginning of the chapter, it is stated that by the time he was allowed out of this cupboard again, the summer holidays has already started. So the school was over. So he was in the cupboard from June 20-something, which is Dudley's birthday, until whenever the July school ends.
So his longest ever time in the cupboard is a week and a half.
I feel like it's closer to 2 weeks.
And okay, I know this seems like me being like, come on, Harry, rookie numbers. But he's later implied in the 7th book to have gone on weeks-long starvation periods. Was this a separate punishment where not only was he... Okay, so...
Also, was he going to school?
No, apparently not. What was the... Did they just call him and be like, he's sick?
Probably, because otherwise... Oh, yeah, involvement of the social services and all that. That would have been a nightmare.
Yeah. So again, questions here, but something that I really think about is that Harry's just having fun outside. The Dursleys don't care where he is, and I'm just like, that's how I grew up, where you're just like, yeah, go outside, come back before dark.
Free roaming children.
Free-range kids.
Free-range kids, exactly.
Yeah.
And also, I do really love how the Dudley's gang is described, that all of them are big and stupid, but as Dudley was the biggest and the stupidest, he was the leader. So the criteria for the gang leader is clear to me right here.
We also have something that I hate as someone who likes clothes, where Dudley, as we spoke about in the last episode, is in his new knickerbockers, not to be confused with Knickerbocker Glory,
which is a sundae type of ice cream or whatnot.
And we get a new nickname for him that Aunt Petunia gives him, Ickle Duddykins. Where,
oh, yeah, I did highlight that.
In contrast, Harry's school uniform is old clothes of Dudley's that are being dyed gray.
True.
Like,
exactly.
If he's been having old clothes of Dudley's for, like...
Forever.
How is it a school uniform if it's dyed gray? My experience of the British educational system is only what I've read in books, non-fiction books, and watched on TV, fiction TV. But they seem to have very specific uniforms.
It seems like something that is issued by school or through school.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
Get
confused
as
as
to-
well.
Yeah.
Because I remember from my childhood when we had uniform in the primary school, because starting the middle school, it wasn't a thing anymore. But we did have certain sets of acceptable uniform. So schools would choose, oh, we want like the green set. This is like the green uniform was what we had. It was like it could be any like mix and match of the set of a uniform. It could be a pinafore, it could be like a skirt, it could be pants, it could be jacket, it could be vest. But it's all the same like set. It could be mix and match. It could be another school would do the maroon, but it's also a set that you can mix and match out of. But those were purchased through a school uniform store, and you could only wear something from that store.
So that's the same. My brother went to a British-style school in Canada, private school, because he was fancy.
Ooh.
He could run really fast, so they wanted him. Anyway, but like you had to, like same thing, you had to buy the certain clothes from the uniform through the school store. Like you couldn't just get stuff. You couldn't just get a blazer. It had to be that school's blazer. And then another like Ronald Dahl-esque detail is that Dudley's school includes a knobbly stick used for hitting each other while the teachers were looking.
That was supposed to be good training for later in life, which is for what later in life? For assault?
Apparently, yeah.
Apparently, that's what smelting is about. Also, I want to ask you, because JK is really big on like colorful speaking names for things. What do you think of when you hear or read smeltings?
Like, I think of the smell of sulfur, which is like rotten egg smell.
Okay, because this is somehow this is around what was translated into the Russian name for this school, because it was translated into vonings, which von is a really strong smell. But however, the school that Harry was supposed to attend, which is Stonewall High in the original text, for some reason was translated into Cameron's High, which I don't know why.
I was going to say wasn't David Cameron prime minister at the time, but he wasn't. He wasn't not prime minister.
I don't think that would make sense for a Russian reader. So the only thing that I can think of is that it's not cameras, it's Camerons with an A, which camera is like a prison cell.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking maybe that's like the only reasonable explanation to me for why Stonewall, yeah,
prison cell.
But also when I hear Stonewall, the only thing I think of is the Stonewall riot.
Yeah, a proud moment of LGBT plus history, which everyone should review and keep in mind that people need to fight for their rights. So, with the Post, there is like the kind of magic. I don't know if you ever had this, but like when I got a letter as a kid, like a handwritten letter to me, like I was just like, ooh, a letter. And I feel like Harry has the same feeling here where he's, ooh, a letter.
Oh, there's a couple of points that I want to point out again. So, Harry is being sassy here already. So, especially when he said, oh, I didn't realize that it had to be wet. Actually, in the Russian translation, it's even more sassy. So it sounds something like, oh, of course, I just didn't realize that you had to wet it. He sounds like he's doing a bit. And then he's being bold again when he retorts to Uncle Vernon is make Dudley get it. And to me, it feels like, oh, he's trying to joke.
Yeah.
But still, it just comes out and it's like, wow, bold of him.
Something else I really like, and they did keep this for the film, is how colorful the letter is.
Oh, yeah.
Because it has green ink. It's heavy, made of yellowish parchment, and saw a purple seal wax bearing a coat of arms. So I think the only difference is in the movie, the wax seal
was kind
red.
of maroon, yeah. But right now, I'm holding the Minalima edition, which for you people who don't know what is Minalima, so it's the two graphic designers who worked on basically every visual on the movie set, and the letter that Harry received was their work. So it's Mina Foramina and Eduardo Lima. Yeah, and this is exactly the same font that you see on screen, almost exactly the same look to the letter, along with a card from Marge from the Isle of Wight. And yeah, I can't stop looking at this font because it's really pretty.
Also, there's a reference to the Troubles in here. "Hurry up, boy," shouted Uncle Vernon from the kitchen. "What are you doing? Checking for letter bombs?"
I highlighted that too, and what I wrote here, I was like, okay, so this is what, 1991?
Yeah.
By 1991, Unabomber has been at large for over 10 years, so this is a bad joke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wait, no, do you know what the Troubles are?
No.
Oh, okay,
But literally, like, when I read that, I was like, that was a thing, right? The Unabomber was a thing.
The Troubles was, it was there for a long time. It was settled in the 90s. And it was armed conflict between the Irish Republican Army and...
Oh, the IRA, yeah.
Right. And people were bombed and assassinated. At one point, Margaret Thatcher was supposed to give a speech in a hotel, and it was bombed trying to kill her.
Well, we'll later see that with the character of Seamus Finnegan, the only Irish Gryffindor who keeps on freaking blowing everything up.
Yeah.
Wow, JK. Amazing.
So I do think that's a bit premature in 1991 for Vernon Dursley to be like, ha, letter bombs.
Yeah, and even taking into account the Unabomber thing, because he was only caught in 1999. Yeah, but yeah, bad joke, Vernon. Bad joke.
Yeah, no, you're right. The Unabomber was still active, very active.
Very active. But also it was in the U.S., so maybe Vernon thought that, it's kind of far away from here. It's okay to joke about that. No, it's not. So this is where we learn that Marge ate a funny whelk, which, do you know what whelk is?
Nope, no idea.
Well, apparently it's like a snail, like an escargot.
Oh.
Yeah, so... Yeah, Marge apparently likes exotic cuisine, and it doesn't do well with her.
I made a snail and mushroom soup the other day, which you refused to try, so you don't like exotic cuisine.
No. And this is the moment when Vernon and Petunia discover that this is the very magical letter from a very magical school of witchcraft and wizardry, and their reaction is just priceless. They both pale, they start stuttering, and they are just terrified. My note in here is, but what did you expect? You knew you were taking a wizard boy in your household. What did you expect?
Yeah, I was surprised by, we'll learn this a bit more in the next chapter, but Vernon and Petunia seem to legitimately think that they could,
beat it out of him.
Beat the magic out of him.
Because, well, this is how you get an Obscurus.
Yeah.
And this is how you get an Obscurus. This is why I keep on bringing it up, because this is how you get an Obscurus. They were on their way to making one.
So something that, again, this is like a Ronald Dahl moment, where just when Harry's seeing Uncle Vernon's face, it's described as his face went from red to green faster than a set of traffic lights, and it didn't stop there. Within seconds, it was a grayish white of old porridge.
Yeah, this is an interesting expression to me.
Yeah, that's cartoonish.
Cartoonish, yeah. And then for the first time, we see Vernon yelling at Dudley. Unexpected to me. So the boys spy on Vernon and Petunia talking about that. They're speaking cryptically.
"Should we write back? Tell them we don't want?" "No," he said finally. "No, we'll ignore it. If they don't get an answer, yes, that's best. We won't do anything." "But I'm not having one in the house, Petunia. Didn't we swear when we took him in we'd stamp out that dangerous nonsense?"
Having one what? So Harry, I feel like this is for Harry because he doesn't know that he's a wizard. We know that he's a wizard. Yeah, so it's literally something that, I wrote down is just going to those lengths to not let Harry become a wizard. For what purpose?
So I think J.K. Rowling, who we've established has some gardening tendencies in how she does her fiction writing. I think in retrospect, it would have been better to make Vernon and Petunia the victims, or they knew someone who'd been a victim of wizard on muggle violence. Because then a lot of this behavior would have
been justified, at least, yeah.
Yeah, you would have understood, even if you're you shouldn't have done that to a kid, but yet it is how it is in the book, and she never goes back and really does this. The closest we get is that Petunia wanted to be a wizard and wasn't allowed to be. Which
to me, it reads as petty,
Yeah.
salty, bitter, but not hateful.
Yeah, and it's also like, if this is a reaction to that desire, then Petunia has been living a very,
Closeted life.
very closeted life. So I do think that's a plot weakness that could have been made a strength by just having a later revelation that, I don't know, maybe Vernon and Marge had another sibling who had died in a wizard attack. Because that would explain why Vernon hates them so much as well.
But so far, we only get the assumption that he does hate them because of what Petunia had told him about her family and what happened. So he is being a girl's girl in that.
Yes, he is being a girl's girl. He's supporting his wife.
He's supporting his wife, her rights and her wrongs, but yeah, for no apparent reason. This is the point in the story when Harry moves all his belongings, which only takes him one go, to move from the cupboard under the stairs to the spare bedroom upstairs where all the Dudley's broken old things are. And apparently there's also a real air rifle in there. And I've highlighted it with a note saying, I'm sorry. This is something that he exchanged his pet parrot for.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's the conversion rate?
The conversion rate in a schoolyard exchange.
Yeah, one parrot for one real air rifle. Where did you get one? Where did you get one? Not parrot, they're air rifle.
I don't know. When I was a kid at the Austrian club, there was like an air rifle range in the back. And with our parents' supervision, we were allowed to use it as kids. But that's as far as I got.
Oh my God. Well, we get another tantrum from Dudley then, where he kicks his mother and throws his tortoise through the greenhouse roof. When again, I was just speechless reading it. And I'm like, wow.
That's some animal abuse.
That's some animal abuse, and that's some really bad manners and just really bad parenting. Because, like, how do you kick your mother?
It's also interesting, and we see Dudley having a history within these few paragraphs of hurting animals, essentially, where he ran over the neighbor's dog with his tank. He traded his parrot for an air rifle. Also, parrots live forever. That was an irresponsible gift to give to a child. And then he's throwing a tortoise through the greenhouse roof. I have to assume this is, again, the Ronald Dahl cartoonish violence. Because at some point, I mean, people really like their dogs. I feel like if he ran over the dog, that'd be like...
You know, I've watched enough Criminal Minds to know that the serial killers start with animals.
Sanya has watched enough of a fictional TV show to know a real fact about real life, guys.
Yes.
Okay. So, I don't think this was meant to be an accurate representation of a boy. I think this was, again, meant to be like an exaggeration to just show how spoiled he is.
But if it was, he was going to be a sociopath.
Yeah, pretty much. But maybe he's too big and stupid for it.
Too stupid to be a sociopath. Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's just called a psychopath, I think.
And then we get this amazing fight scene between Harry, Vernon, and Dudley, which I really want to see that scene in the TV show because we were robbed of it in the movie. We had a little bit of an altercation between Vernon and Harry in the movies. But this fight scene, I want to see that. Vernon wrestling Dudley to the floor, Harry trying to choke him from behind and just choke him out. And yeah, wow, that would have been hilarious.
And then Dudley hitting everybody with
with a stick.
Yeah. And then go to your cupboard, your bedroom, he wheezed at Harry. Dudley, go. Just go.
So it's how different they're sent off. Also amazing.
I think also the next paragraph is nice because you see throughout this chapter that Harry's no doormat. He wants his letter. He's very direct about it.
Yep. And he devises a plan.
And then we have it here. He's going to devise a plan to get his letter. Of course, someone else has also devised a plan to prevent Harry from getting the letter. But
instead, they got their face stepped on.
Yep.
Some people pay for that.
Which, again, walking on somebody's face, again, Ronald Dahl-esque, kind of.
True. But also, again, I'm bringing my point of going through so much discomfort just to prevent Harry from becoming a wizard. It's to me, it almost feels like an out of character thing for Vernon Dursley to endure so much discomfort, even as sleeping in a sleeping bag on the floor by the door, and then further on going on to this adventure in the sea. Ugh.
And this detail of his commitment to not letting Harry go to Hogwarts would have made so much more sense if he or someone he'd known had been attacked by a wizard. Because if Harry goes to Hogwarts, the Dursleys don't have to see him for like 10 months
He's just
of the year.
not there for most of the year.
Yeah.
And it's not like he would want to come back for holidays. It's just he would stay.
So for as much as they hate him, it seems like the solution is to go to Hogwarts. But that's how much Vernon Dursley and Petunia don't want Harry to be a wizard.
Or don't want him to be happy.
Yeah, which would make so much more sense if Vernon Dursley had some sort of wizard-related incident in the past.
True. But the letters keep on coming in. This is another thing that I highlighted because the letters keep on coming in through the letter slot for the Muggle post, but they still have no stamps on. So that means probably that the owls have to time the letter delivery with the Muggle mail delivery. And as we see it in the movie, just carefully release the letters so that they land right into the mail slot.
It's like a war movie. It's release the package.
Roger that. Over.
No, we're over when I say we're over. Anyway, and the creativity and how much it makes him, Uncle Vernon, go mad is, again, kind of like Ronald Dahl-esque. I mean, that's going to be my word, Dahl-esque.
Right.
That does it, said Uncle Vernon, trying to speak calmly but pulling great tufts out of his mustache at the same time. I want you all back here in 5 minutes, ready to leave. We're going away. Just pack some clothes. No arguments.
Yeah, and that's right after Harry, the youngest Gryffindor Quidditch player in the past 100 years and the best seeker of a Gryffindor team, fails to catch one of 30 or 40 letters flying in the air.
Oof. Come on, Harry.
Do better. Do better. I do like the depictions of the letters flying out of the chimney in the Minalima edition. It does really feel whimsical. And then they're just owls with the hundreds of letters just chasing the car down.
Mm-hmm. So we do get like our first mention here of like physical child abuse, and that's when Vernon hits Dudley for holding them up from leaving because he tried to pack his television, video, and computer in his sports bag, which like it's phrased in a way that makes it like kind of like ye old timey. Yeah, we used to hit kids, where his father had hit him round the head.
Yep.
Which, so for gentle listeners, I'm a big fan of the Song of Ice and Fire book series. And in that book series, there's a series of novellas called the Dunk and Egg novellas, which have recently been turned into a great TV series.
That we like.
Yeah. One of the things which is very common throughout the novellas is that the knight keeps threatening his squire with a clout on the ear.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like this expression a lot.
And what makes it funny is because he never clouts him on the ear. He's like, why I oughta. But in this one, it's the same sort of language where it's meant to kind of gentle what's happening. But in this case, it's like...
It's just, he's been whacked.
Yeah, he's been whacked.
And probably for the first time in his life, actually.
Yeah.
And here they drive, and Vernon is muttering, shake him off, where I wrote it. He's a Swiftie, because wizard's gonna hex, 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 hex.
Amazing.
Yeah, they go through all the trouble of getting away from their house through the town of Corkworth, which is apparently Petunia's childhood town, to a very sketchy place somewhere off the shore of the sea, which I checked the map of Great Britain. Mm-hmm. There is not many small islands that surround the shore, somewhere off the shore. And the closest one that I found, because that would have been quite a journey, because they live in Surrey, which is a little bit south of London. And they go all the way up to Cokeworth, which is supposed to be in Midlands, so somewhere between Manchester and Birmingham. And then there's no islands off the shoreline in that area of the Britain, so they have to go a little bit down closer to Bristol to find a isle. So that must have been a journey.
It is, but also someone who lives in a big North American country, I'm like, driving in the UK, what does that take? 20 minutes? Talk to me when you've driven 14 hours straight and only gone through a couple provinces.
Talk to me when you're on the train for 2 weeks and you're still in the same country.
Yep.
That's for our gentle listeners. This is where I'm from.
The motherland.
The motherland.
So Uncle Vernon's trying to shake him off. We've established that. He's a Swiftie. And he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to my wife's childhood town where we knew a wizard lived.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's where none of the wizards will know to follow us.
True. So, yeah. And Vernon found the perfect place just off the shore of the sea where it's freaking cold at the end of July, which for some reason, I do not doubt. But also, I truly believe that it was somewhere closer to Wales, because I don't think that the sea would be this cold somewhere around, I don't know, Cornwall, because it's relatively warm in Cornwall. It's like a surfing town. Surfing towns are all over the place there. And there was a storm forecast for tonight. We get an implication of a gun being there.
Which I didn't know you could just buy those in the UK, but apparently. What is this, America?
Along with the Unabomber. So they stay in this freezing hut. The inside was horrible and it was all smelly. The blankets were all moldy. The sofa was moth-eaten. And Harry has to sleep on the floor, which in the English version is he had to find the softest bit of floor.
Which he's gonna die of exposure.
Right.
That's just, everything about this says he's gonna die of exposure because he has to curl up under the thinnest, most ragged blanket.
On the floor in this absolutely horribly cold hut that the only good thing about it is that it didn't leak. He was hungry. Everybody was hungry, but I would assume that maybe a big chunk of Harry's ration went to Dudley.
Yeah. I thought you said Russian.
Not Russian. Ration.
Like, does Harry have a Russian? I have a Russian. Does Harry have one?
Harry could have a Russian, but no, he doesn't.
There's also, so they're getting comfortable. Dudley's on the couch because he gets the couch and Harry gets to die of exposure. And Harry notices by the lighted dial of Dudley's watch that it's going to be midnight in 10 minutes. And then I'm just like, so you haven't gotten Harry a watch? Like, even a real cheap nothing watch?
But also, I'm like, is it the same golden watch or is it a different watch that Dudley has? Is this the golden watch with the dial that is fluorescent? Or is it two different watches?
In the movie, they have it being a digital watch.
Yep.
But
this is because the movie was done in 2001.
Yeah, which was later.
Because analog watches were already not a thing and people don't know how to read them anymore. Because back in my day, we all knew how to read the analog watch and we know how to write cursive.
So it might be the same one, but I feel like Dudley would have multiple watches.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Well, obviously, Dursleys could afford multiple watches. Do you think it was a swatch?
A swatch?
A swatch.
No, I don't think it was a swatch. That's Japanese. I feel like Vernon doesn't like the Japanese.
We know from the second book he doesn't.
Oh, I don't remember this, but
the Japanese golfer joke.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, okay, no.
Do you know the Japanese golfer joke?
I don't want to know.
I found out what it is.
I don't want to know what that is.
Okay, you really don't want to know what it is.
I don't engage in racial stereotyping.
It's really not much about the racial stereotyping there, actually. It's more of a, I don't know, just disrespectful in general.
Yeah. Is there a word for misogynist but against foreigners? I feel like that's racism.
Xenophobic.
Xenophobic,
yeah. Because, I know that word very well.
Oh, okay, yeah. Of course, this is because Russians are so xenophobic to everybody else in Russia. Slavs, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I do love this one little line near the end. 1 minute to go and he'd be 11. 30 seconds. 20. 10. 9. Maybe he'd wake Dudley up just to annoy him. 3, 2, 1. Boom! And then something woke Dudley up.
Boom! There's a giant boom in the Minalima edition and I love it.
But we kind of see like the mischief of Harry.
Yep. Like he's a bold and sassy boy. There's
no need to call him Sir Professor.
Yeah, actually here it is also a digital watch in the Minalima edition, but to be fair, this is a 2020 book.
Yeah.
So, people in 2020, kids in 2020, don't know how to read analog watch because back in my day, now kids, they don't even know how to write in cursive.
So my analog watch, the first one, it had a lighted up dial where you could press a button and it'd glow a bit.
Yeah.
So you could see in the dark.
Or it was fluorescent, phosphorescent.
Yeah.
It would just
You mean
glow in the dark.
Yeah, fluorescent doesn't glow in the dark. So looking on this chapter, I think that it's a very nice transition chapter between what Harry's life is with the Dursleys versus the introduction to the magical world. Because we see the magic amplifying.
Yep, we see going from 0 to letters shoved in eggs, which, again, every time I read that, I'm like, first of all, how? But again, this is not a question of how. I'm just, why? And also, is the contents of the eggs still inside?
Are the letters
all covered in yolk? Or are these just the eggshells that contain the letters inside? What happened in there? How exactly? Because in the Minalima, the illustrated version, you can see that they are crumpled into the eggshell, but it does look like it's dry.
It is a hollowed out egg.
Yep. And Uncle Vernon in his sleeping bag looks like a big caterpillar.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
So it's a really good transition chapter. It shows us that I think as an introduction to magic in this world actually does very well, considering that J.K. Rowling didn't really have a strong idea of what her magic system would be. And keep in mind, again, she was not planning to write a massive fantasy novel that would reshape millions of lives. But it's a vibes system, and I don't mean that in the sense of the hard and soft magic system of Brandon Sanderson, which I will discuss in the next episode.
Oh, yeah.
But it's very much something where it's going to happen. The magic's going to get what it needs done, and how that happens, don't think about the laws and rules around it.
Which we learn later that there are at least some laws and rules around it.
But in terms of a reader, you're not asking what's constricting the magic. You're asking, can magic do this thing?
Yep.
Because either magic can do it or it can't.
Yeah, it can bring back the dead, but you have a love potion.
And in this one, you can't make the letter appear somehow, but the letter will follow you wherever you're going.
Yeah.
So it's a very, I'll try to speak more clearly on this, but it's a very interesting way of looking at magic. And that will bring us to the end.
Until next time, this was Two Girls, One Plot, and we will meet you in the next chapter, The Keeper of the Keys?
The Keeper of the Keys.
Is it The Keeper of the Keys?
It is The Keeper of the Keys, chapter 4.
The Keeper of the Keys.
And we meet the wonderful Hagrid.